This interview is for information only and should not be considered as investment advice or a recommendation to buy shares in the company featured. Welcome to this Stock Box interview. Well, hello and welcome back to the Research Talks here from Stockbox. When Friday has come round pretty awfully quick, Alan, hasn't it?
Well, I think I was saying before we came on air, Mark, that last Friday evening we went out for a meal, my wife and I, with friends, and then we went out Saturday night. And it seems like, 24, 48 hours ago since we went out for those meals. And here we are again, it's Friday. And it's still raining.
Yeah, I know I've got a drizzly day also today, which is a bit of a shame, but the temperature's up and it's certainly a lot lighter, which is obviously very nice. I went for a cycle ride last night in the evening and it was light, which is really nice. You had this kind of nice twilight, so no evening cycles in the dark for the time being, which is lovely, isn't it? But yeah, we just could do with a bit of sunshine and make us all happy.
Yeah, indeed. Well, I have to say, during the week we did have some sunshine. It was on Wednesday. And we took my little grandson to the beach, and we had it was great. Yeah, usual stuff: ice cream, throwing stones in the sea, and it was a lovely day. So yeah, can't really complain about this rain too much because we did have a nice day during the week.
Beautiful, excellent, good stuff. Okay, well, let's cover. I think we're covering 4 today. We've got because been a bit of an update from companies. So we're talking about Forum Energy Metals, of course, with the uranium projects. There actually is a special feature going out from Stockbox in the next hour or two, I think, where we talk to Dr. Rebecca Hunter on different uranium deposits and what Forum have. And also, I think there's some warrants. I think Rick is quite keen to encourage shareholders in Forum to exercise some warrants that are probably just about in the money. So, take a look at maybe that special feature and, maybe consider exercising a warrant if you feel it's good value. But there's Forum Energy Metals, Golden Metal Resources, ONDO InsurTech, and Cadence, who had that update this morning. So, Forum Energy Metals, Alan, to start us off.
Forum Energy Metals, certainly, of course, a TSX listed company. The EPIC code is FMC. The company is currently trading at 12 cents, and I think we're just we're coming off a low now, which is quite significant in charting terms. We're off a floor which was set by the stock recently. And with good reason. The company set out its stall of activities for 2024. So the company is essentially a uranium explorer, and it has a raft of projects, but its primary focus, certainly for 2024, is in an area in northern Canada called the Nunavut-Tillon Basin. It also has interests and assets in Saskatchewan, and I'll list those a little later on. So the structure of the company, 60% of the shareholders are retail, 5% of the shares are held by management, 35% are held by institutional shareholders, and within that, there is a major institutional shareholder that owns 9.9%, a cornerstone shareholder, if you like, and throughout the past 2 raises, that cornerstone investor has maintained that holding, so they've invested into each raise, which is, it speaks volumes, I think, for the company and for the management. And speaking of management, there are a number of senior people involved on the team. Of course, Rick Mazur, Chief Executive, 35 years experience as a project geologist and analyst. He's also previously director at Alto Ventures, Impact Silver Corporation, Midnight Sun Mining Corporation, and others. The deposits that the company is developing in Tillon, that there are 2 primary deposits: the Tatigak deposit. I hope I said that right. It's spelled Tatigaq. Tatigak deposit.
Tatigaq deposit. Yeah.
Tatigaq deposit, and the Kavik deposit. Within that, there are a further 20 high priority targets spread over 95, nearly 100,000 hectares in total. And these deposits are next to the Orano and Denison UEC projects, notably Andrew Lake, which is £59 million. And of course, in Canada, Canadian companies tend to measure in the old imperial measurements in pounds, £59 million of uranium. The END project, which is £34 million of uranium, and the Kigavik project, which is £40 million. So surrounded by projects yielding potential of £133 million of uranium in total. Now the samples already corrected at Tadikak or Tadagak are pretty impressive. We've seen over 11 meters, 2.25% uranium, and that's at a depth of 148, between 148 and 159 meters. So a decent width underground as well. 1.35% uranium over 1.7 meters and 3.3% over 3.3 meters. And also one particular section, 7.27% over 1.5 meters. So these are impressive numbers indeed from there. So this year, the company has a huge action plan in place. It's put together a $10 million drill program. There are 30 to 40 drill holes planned, and the plan is to expand the resource at Tatagak, expand Kavik, and to actually drill at the Ned, Arabion, and Mammoth prospects, where they're looking for a supergiant anomaly underground, similar to the MacArthur or Cigar deposit, which is also in within the area too. So some 20 areas in total to test. Now backing that up, of course, this is drilling in. This is in the northeast of Canada, so it's remote and it's cold. They have fixed wing support. If you go, there's a very good presentation on the Forum Energy website. I'd urge listeners to go and look at that. So they have fixed wing support. There's a picture of a great old World War II Douglas Dakota, a DC-3. They have a snowcat train which regularly runs to the Forum camp. That's some 100 kilometers west of Baker Lake. Camp construction will start taking place in about 6 to 8 weeks' time in May. And the plan is then, once the camp is set up, to drill some 12,000 meters between June and September, obviously when the weather is better. So there's an awful lot to look forward to, an awful lot of news flow, and I think the share price currently at 0.12 cents is nicely poised to offer upside to investors coming at this level. So in addition to the Toulon assets, we also have a number of assets owned by the company in the Athabasca Basin. Of course, we've heard many times about Athabasca Basin projects, and those owned and run by various companies. So within Athabasca, the company has a number of projects it owns completely, several JVs, and also an option agreement too. So the 100% ownership of Wollaston, High Rock, Costigan, and Morris Point, and joint ventures with Henday, which is 60% UEC, 40% Forum Metals. Then Fur Island, and those that heard me talk about the Forum Energy investment case beforehand will remember me talking about Fur Island. So that's a JV. Rano owned 51%, Forum Energy Metals 49%. Clearwater is majority owned by Forum Energy Metals, 25% by VEC, and then several others in Northwest Athabasca. There's a four-way split between FMC, Cameco, NextGen, and Orano. Plus, there's also an option agreement with Traction Uranium and at the Grease River or the Grease River deposit. So, in summary, you've got an awful lot taking place in Toulon Basin this year. Uranium grades in Toulon that rival those already found by other companies in Athabasca. The assets are next door to Orano's £133 million open pit mine development project. We have a cornerstone investor that's maintained their interest for 9.9% of the entire company. And obviously, the future for uranium doesn't need me to go on about it because you've heard it so many times before. But uranium has a brighter than ever future as a clean energy fuel. Everyone's going clean energy nowadays, and uranium is back in the picture as the primary source. And of course, uranium selling for some $2,000 a ton, but I would expect the price to ramp up significantly from that point over the coming years. So all in all, Forum Energy Metals looks well placed for 2024, and it's also well placed in value upside opportunity terms, looking at the current share price.
Indeed, Alan. And I mean, the current market cap there is what, about 37 million Canadian, I think, around.
It's less than that, just under 30, just under $30 million. So 30 million Canadian, which is about, what, 18 million sterling, which is nothing really, considering the raft of projects the company has.
Yes, indeed. And as you say, this year is going to be very active for them. That camp's going to be being built around May time. It's going to be a permanent camp in the sense that it's going to stay effectively. It's not going to be taken away. It's going to stay throughout the for the future. And they're getting all the lumber up there at the moment to get that camp constructed. And I think it's going to be a very exciting year for them. It's all about scale this year. You know, they've proved the grade. They now want to prove the scale and also continue to demonstrate that grade. So, I mean, Forum Energy Metals over the next year, lots of exploration going on this year and into next year. And I think, you know, from sort of, maybe 2025 onwards, that company is going to be looking very, very different, given as well, particularly the following wins in the uranium price. But I would encourage people to watch that special feature from Stockbox with the VP of Exploration, Dr. Rebecca Hunter there. There's a lot covered in terms of the uranium prices, uranium price cycles. We're just about to go into I think the third cycle, if you like, has only recently started. And, you know, looking at peaks, it should peak a lot higher than the previous two cycles. And, of course, the unconformity deposit that Forum have is the one you want. It's the high grade. They're in exactly the right area. Got exactly the right type of deposit, and the grades are proving up to be what they should be. So now it's really about proving scale. So yeah, I mean, it's a great little company to watch, and quite exciting as well, over up in the tundra, in the middle of literally nowhere. I think it's a good hour or so helicopters flight just to get personnel in.
It is, yeah. It's very remote, but I think again the great thing with Forum is that at this level now you've got so much potential upside. All the work's being done, and when watching the Stockbox special with Rebecca, I'd also urge listeners and viewers to go to the Forum Energy website and look at the presentation. If you go to the presentation heading, you'll see the latest February 2024 presentation, and that maps out everything the company's doing this year. So well worth a look.
Indeed. Well, thank you, Alan. So Golden Metal Resources then.
Golden Metal Resources. So this is another one from the Power Metal stable, and Power Metal Resources, of course, still holds 62% of the company. It's locked into May this year, but I don't imagine Sean and the team will be selling Golden Metal shares anytime soon, given that the company has absolutely blazed a trail since coming to market last year. It's the share price is currently trading at 14.5p. It's been as high as 18p. And it dipped briefly below the IPO price at 6.2p last year, but it's had a fantastic run. Market cap currently just 13 million, and what you get for that is our management team headed by Chief Executive Oliver Friesen and a number of non-execs on the board, including Mick Belling, of course, who has been involved with Pilot Mountain, which is the company's primary project for many years. And Pilot Mountain is unique in that it's about the only tungsten project actually within the US. And of course, given that the US have set out the mandate that they will no longer be purchasing tungsten from China or from anywhere else for that matter, developing domestic resources is absolutely top priority. And Gold Metal last year hired an advisor to the US government, Mrs. Chang Otekmani, to the company to help develop the strategy for Pilot Mountain and to help develop the asset in order to fast track it as a source of tungsten for US industry. The current mineral resource estimate was established in 2018, 12.53 million tons of tungsten, the largest underdeveloped tungsten resources, say, in the USA. But the company also has a raft of other assets, and it's focused very much in Nevada. And if you look at go to the company website and look at the map of where the assets are situated, they're all very close together, which logistically makes it very easy to work. You've got a team on the ground there, so it's very easy to go from one to the other. We have, of course, the 100% owned or the earn-in opportunity at Golconda, which is the Golconda gold project, Carlin-type gold system there. We've already seen samples of nearly 20 grams per ton coming out of the ground there. We have the 100% owned Garfield project, which is east of Hawthorne in Mineral County. And we've seen, it's a polymetallic project. We've seen great copper, gold, and silver grades come out of the ground there. Two significant copper zones discovered there. And of course, that has certainly sort of moved on since the company came to market middle of last year. There's also the Stonewall project, which is also 100% owned. And of course, the Kibbe Basin lithium project, where there are two claims prospective for lithium. And one of those claims is less than 250 meters from a drill hole drilled in 2022, which contained 169 meters of lithium brine. So, and also Kibbe Basin is less than 5 kilometers from Pilot Mountain, again, highlighting the logistical efficiency that's offered by the company. During the year as well, last year, the company also dual listed on the OTC QB, the US marketplace. But Oliver and the team have developed the company rapidly as we moved into 2024. The share price has held up really well. Of course, in about a week ago, the company raised £750,000 at 15 pence. They have a major shareholder in the form of Pure Bond, 5.5% of Pure Bond. Listeners may recall also are major investors in Kavanga Resources, which we discussed the other week. But there was an update on Pilot Mountain in early February, where the team said that there were significantly greater in-ground resources than estimates to that point had indicated. And Oliver said that it was a significant but unexpected step forward, as the company had identified garnet along with tungsten and the other minerals there as a potential new or potentially new economic upside opportunity for gold metal resources. And of course, industrial garnet has numerous uses. It's used in abrasive blasting, water filtration, water cutting, abrasive and non-slip coatings, and of course in sandpaper as well. It's that's probably its most most widely utilized application. Global market for garnet is huge, some 35 billion in 2022. So again, this discovery is key to adding further value in developing a fast-tracking Pilot Mountain. Then, of course, a few days ago, Oliver and the team announced the first ever drilling campaign to commence at Pilot Mountain. They've applied for drilling permits. They expect to get those soon, about 5 to 6 weeks. The drill campaign will test the Porphyry South target and also look at potential for copper at two historic drill holes at Desert Sheelite and Good Hope prospects. They have an agreement more or less in place with a Nevada drilling contractor, so things are really going to start to motor, I think, once the drills or the truth machine goes into the ground, and hopefully at the same time we'll see some further developments on the any potential upgrade for the tungsten mineral resource estimate. Also in the first quarter, Kibbe Basin Lithium Project, the company reported that the data analysis they'd undertaken there indicated the likelihood of significant lithium brine at depth. And of course, this is given that Kibbe Basin is less than 5 kilometers from Pilot Mountain. They can basically drill at Pilot Mountain and then nip over the hill to take a look at Kibbe Basin. So all in all, a great year so far from Oliver and the team, and I'm sure we're going to see that this company blaze a trail as we go forward in the year. But really, the floor in the valuation's got to be 15p at the very least, because that's where they've just raised £750,000.
Indeed, and that's a lot of money, isn't it? So again, another company there that's going to have a very active drilling season this year. It's always fun, isn't it, when your company gets active on the ground?
It is. It is. Well, it's. I I think well, Gold Metal is no longer a spin out from Power Metal. Of course,
Yeah,
it's a
it's
successful company in its own right. It's moved on from there. But I just think you look at the quality of the companies that have come out from Power Metal, and the vision of Sean, Paul Johnson, and the team to put these companies together into separate packages, and I think it's paid off handsomely in the case of Gold Metal, and of course, initially with First Class Metals too. And I know First Class Metals are still blazing a trail, and I'm sure we'll see a lot of good news from them as the year progresses. But certainly, Oliver and the team are doing a sterling job.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. I'm looking forward to seeing what they do on the ground, both at Pilot Mountain and, of course, at Garfield as well. So, yeah, and Oliver Friesen, yeah, doing a very good job so far. So let's see what he can deliver this year.
It's worth saying because Oliver often publishes on his own Twitter handle. He'll publish little video clips when he's actually on site during the day, and you get a real sort of on the ground feel for his view of what's taking place on the ground there too.
Yep, indeed. Okay, well, ONDO InsurTech then, Alan.
ONDO, yes, this is a very interesting company. I mean, a real success story. It's and again, this is it's very much a niche player. It had the company evolved from HomeServe, which of course are the company that are probably one of the most successful direct mail marketing companies in the UK. I think we still probably get about 2 or 3 letters a week from them saying, "Why don't you sign up with us?" But anyway, very highly successful. And Craig Foster, the chief executive of ONDO, worked at HomeServe. He developed the leak bot in the HomeServe labs there, and of course won many awards for it. But it's a fantastic but very simple Internet of Things based claim prevention system, which reduces the cost of water damage claims by 70%. Quite simply fits onto your existing system and will alert you or a contractor if something has gone wrong. So the potential for insurance companies to save money is absolutely huge. And the story of ONDO, really, since coming to market, it reversed into the old Spinnaker acquisitions in 2022. It became ONDO InsurTech PLC. ONDO, of course, is Japanese for temperature change. And so the leak bot that it's developed and worked through, the company has engaged a team and has been steadily selling this into insurance companies and selling the solution. The clients include Admiral Insurance, Hiscox Insurance, Non-Fast which is Sweden's largest non-life insurer, WNS Holdings. It's rolled out in Denmark, Portsmouth Water, a new deal just announced with Southwest Water as well, and of course, just under a year ago, it announced a partnership with WNS Holdings, NYSE listed, New York Stock Exchange listed, and this WNS runs claims operations across the USA for multiple household insurance companies, and it's just opened up a whole new dimension for the company. And what we're seeing now are announcements where US insurance companies are taking up LeapBot, building it in, and of course there's a steady revenue stream then from each insurance company for ONDO, and it's a great business model. I mean, as I say, we've heard this year already. There's been a deal to accelerate LeapBot in Denmark. The company signed a new contract last month with Selective Insurance Group in the US. That's from that WNS initial agreement. New agreement with Southwest Water. Plus, the company also raised just over $1 million in December. And the company is very well supported, really, at the current level, and the share price of 22p. So, company has a market valuation of just under 19 million sterling. The company has has an awful lot more to do, and I think the potential to hook up with other insurers is huge. But I know the team are also looking at other opportunities to maximize the reach they now have, and of course the relationships they have with these insurance companies around the world. And Craig Foster and the team are working hard to really, I think, provide the next level of uplift for both investors, shareholders, and of course, take the company in valuation terms to the next level.
Yeah, I know ONDO InsurTech is a very interesting company, and yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing again what they do throughout the course of this year, winning more contracts and getting big into the United States there, with which seem to be blazing a trail, don't they, with that technology there. I don't think there's anyone else in the industry doing that. So again, all praise to Craig for what he's done so far this year. But yeah, it should be a good one to follow anyway. And a nice little tech play for anyone interested in tech, and quite a simple offer as well. No complex geology to think about. It's it's
I was
a
going to
good
say,
product.
yeah, I mean, we're not talking through, rafts of different projects and different grades of uranium or gold or whatever. This is just a very simple binary play. It's and at the moment that they've developed this the LeakBot tool, which works incredibly well. It's saving insurance companies money already. 70%. Any insurance company looking at its claims, water damage claims are by far the biggest source of payout. So if you can cut that by 70%, it's an absolute no-brainer. For an insurance company to look at that, they have to take it on board. It's an absolutely compelling must-have. So yeah, I guess it's incumbent on Craig and the team to come up with the next great invention to help save insurance companies, or help insurance companies save money elsewhere. What that will be,
Indeed.
of course, remains to be seen.
Remains to be seen. Okay, well, Cadence Minerals. Let's finish off on Cadence then, Alan, with that news today about further cost savings, and that's in addition, I think, to similar news that came out not so long ago. Is that right?
Well, it is. This again is the AMAPA project. I'm not going to cover sort of the other projects that Cadence has, because I think those are well documented here. But the Cadence, Kieran Mazaria and the team have done a fantastic job in bringing this enormous, and it is, and I think the scale, people need to understand the sheer scale of this asset. The AMAPA iron ore mine. You've got a railway that's some 130 kilometers long that goes to a port at Santana on the coast, where there are iron ore tailings waiting to be shipped. And of course, the bringing AMAPA back to life is all about rejuvenating the mine, recommissioning the mine, and getting the railway running again, and shipping the ore from the port. And of course, the tailings that had been sitting in the port were shipped last year. There are still some there to be shipped, but what those shipments have done, they've earned money for the company, Dev, the incumbent company there, to reinvest and to get everything up and running again. But of course, something this complex takes an awful lot of time, and there are so many areas that need to be addressed. There are also potential assets to look at outside the Tucano gold asset as well. Of course, it is something that's being looked at, but the primary focus is getting the mine back up and running. And in order to do that, there's a PFS study, a pre-feasibility study that's currently underway, and Cadence announced this morning that the company has the optimization study conducted at pre-feasibility level has identified some $63 million of capital savings associated with the beneficiation plant at the AMAPA project. Of course, that's the plant that processes the ore and gets everything ready for shipment by train to the port. At the same time, the study has delivered a forecast increase in production of some 4.8% to 5.5 billion tons per annum of iron ore concentrate, which is increased from the previous 62%. 4.5% will be a 65% product, and a small amount will be a 62% product. So the grade, the concentrate has been improved, which will command a higher premium on the market. And of course, that will ultimately impact on the bottom line and profitability. There's also a plan to redesign the mine, to simplify the mine, to reduce mining costs, and it'll form the basis of an amended economic assessment. Now, of course, a lot of investors and shareholders might think, "Oh God, this is going to yet delay it yet again." Well, no, it won't, because the study was delivered ahead of schedule. So the same timelines that are projected for the licensing permits, the permits to re-engineer and reinvigorate the older parts of the mine, those are all on course. The existing timelines are in place. Nothing is affected. So what we've done today, we've seen a £63 million saving delivered on a project that is still on schedule to come on stream sometime next year. So this is hugely exciting. In addition, of course, the agreement was signed last year with TCIDR, the Chinese company, to come in and fund and deliver the engineering and procurement studies for the DFS in the run-up to the permits being issued. We're going to see all that take place this year. But as Kieran said today in his comments, thrilled to announce the successful completion of this program. The study was completed ahead of schedule. We don't anticipate any delays to the timeline already announced, even with the additional work associated with optimizing the mine plan. And that's because everything's been completed ahead of schedule. So this is a big step forward for the company. And I'm going to remind people, because I posted this on Twitter yesterday, the Edison Research last year published an updated note on the company, and with the other assets involved, the other investment assets the company has, attributed a share price valuation of some 45p to the company. A mapper before the developments today, so these will be reassessed before the developments today, is valued at 23p per share on a standalone basis. Now, the entire valuation of Cadence at the moment is just 5.7p, which is completely nuts. It's 9.2p. We should be looking at 5 or 6 times upside on the existing share price just to get fair value alone. And I'm convinced that as the DFS progresses, as we get closer to those permit timelines, we're going to see that valuation gap close and the share price increase in value. But I mean, it represents for investors a fantastic opportunity at this level, because you're seeing an existing mine come back to life, production will recommence, and there's also the opportunity to perhaps work at the Tucano mine, which is another story altogether, and of course see greater returns coming in from the other investment assets too.
Indeed. And this optimization study, Alan, that's come out here, the material capital saving, did something similar come out before? Is this in addition to that? Am I right?
Yeah. This has been underway for some time, and indeed there was a projection made about the expected cost savings. What this announcement is, it's actually confirmation of that. But I think significantly, because when you make changes like this to something on this scale, there's a time and a cost issue. We know $63 million has been saved. We know also the optimization study was completed ahead of schedule. So as a result, there are no further costs involved. There's a cost saving of $63 million. And the timelines already announced for those permits later this year that we discussed before, Mark, are still in place, and we're on schedule to hit those.
Yeah, indeed. And it's going to be another good year for Cadence as well. I mean, no expiration as such, but a year of basically studies and getting things ready to revitalise the plant end of the year, getting into that DFS as well.
Indeed. And of course, they have the partnership with TCIDR to do that. And as the company said with the last announcement, they're already having discussions with equity partners to fund the final recommissioning process and getting everything back to life. So everything's in place to do that. So really, this is, although it appears on the surface perhaps to be a passive investment, it's anything but, because this is going to explode into life at some point this year.
Absolutely. Well, thank you very much, Alan, for your time today, talking to us there about Gold and Metal Resources, Forum Energy Metals, ONDO, and Cadence Minerals. And I do wish you a very good weekend, and let's speak next week.
Indeed, Mark, and you too. Have a great weekend.
If you enjoyed this interview, then give us a thumbs up, a like, or a retweet. Subscribe to us on YouTube or follow us on Twitter, and hit that notification bell to be the first to know when we release new content. There's loads of great content on our website too, across all our programs at stopboxmedia.com. Thank you for watching.